Eevee Comply, simplifying your charge point installations.
Hello you, it's Friday the 24th of September, another week, another podcast brought to you directly from Eevee Comply. Starting this week with the exciting news that a UK collective says it can now accurately predict an EV battery's lifespan, and here's how. Swindon-based battery analytics specialist Silver Power Systems and Imperial College London, the London Electric Vehicle Company, which makes electric London black cabs, so you'd think they'd have some sort of idea, and JSCA, the Research and Development Division of What Electric Vehicle Company, are collaborating on an EV battery research program called REDTOP that aims to predict a battery's lifespan. Now, while digital models of EV batteries have been created, they have lacked accurate real-world data to back them up. But this is where it changes, because since January, around 50 London Electric Vehicle Company TX electric taxis and a new electric sports car from the What Electric Vehicle Company have collectively travelled more than 310,686 miles as part of the programme. Each vehicle was fitted with Silver Power Systems data collecting lot device, which constantly communicates with the company's cloud-based software. The data was then analysed by Silver Power Systems' machine learning powered platform of Eevee Ops, and together with Imperial College's battery researchers, digital twins of EV batteries were created. The twin gives not just a view of real-time battery performance and state of health, but also the potential to enable the battery models to predict a battery's lifespan, and I think we can all agree this is very needed in the EV game. The Futuristic Aura concept is a one-off road legal two-seater developed by a consortium of British companies to showcase an array of new technologies that could shape the development of electric cars. Asthima led the design, Potenza Technologies supplied the batteries and electric motors, and BAMD Components developed the body panels and vegan interior, and Conjour took care of the human-machine interface. With technology supplied by Spark EV to effectively manage battery charge, it can reach 400-mile range, and you can check it out via our social media. It's very easy on the eye, a very attractive car. Keeping on the topic of futuristic, British automaker MG is embracing the electric future with open arms. They're already offering two EVs in the UK and Europe, the MG5 and the ZS, and not to forget the plug-in hybrid HS. Now, more all-electric models are in the pipeline, including the Marvel R flagship SUV. This is arriving this autumn across continental Europe, and it has been created by the SAC design team, which are a London-based creative hub. They were tasked with exploring new and innovative designs, and their proposal for the MG came up with the Marvel R flagship. They aim to open the concept of mobility experience to a new generation, particularly focusing on the younger generation. Foxconn says Thailand EV factory will begin processing 50,000 units by 2023. Taiwan-based smartphone manufacturing giant Foxconn and national Thailand oil supplier PTT PLC are moving forward with an agreement to start an electric vehicle manufacturing facility in Thailand. The facility is expected to begin rolling out vehicles by 2023. Foxconn have previously reported plans to begin building factories in both Thailand and the US as early as next year. In other news this week, Zero Labs have built a self-contained EV platform for pretty much any classic car, which is very exciting. Zero Labs is a Californian EV conversion specialist with a self-contained EV chassis that'll underpin pretty much any classic car that you point it at. Really, there are no limits. They call it the world's first complete electric platform, made specifically for transforming the most beloved diesel and petrol vehicles into clean energy heroes. And that doesn't look to be too far from being sold on the global market. American automotive giant General Motors has unveiled 3 new EV motors that will underpin its Ultium-based range, including 2 permanent magnet motors and an induction motor. General Motors President Mark Roos revealed the 3 new motors designed in-house by GM. They include a 180 kilowatt front drive motor, a 255 kilowatt rear and front drive motor, and a 62 kilowatt all-wheel drive assist motor. GM says the Ultium drive combines electric motors and single-speed transmissions to apply power generated by Ultium battery cells to the wheels of GM's upcoming electric vehicles. GM's new Ultium drive is also based on the company's Ultium batteries, designed and produced in partnership with South Korean chemicals company LG Chem. Manufacturers have jumped the hurdle of how to create the batteries, but what do they do with them when they're done? Well, Ford has started to work with Redwood Materials. This is run by former Tesla Chief Technology Officer J.B. Struble to handle the recycling of its electric vehicle batteries. The two companies also plan to use this new partnership to help build out the battery supply chain in the United States, which is something that the Biden administration has stressed as a goal. Now, as part of the deal, Ford is investing $50 million in Redwood Materials, which Struble said is part of the startup's recently announced £700 million funding round. This is not the first customer Redwood Materials has lined up. They already recycle batteries from Nissan, Tesla and Panasonic at the original Gigafactory in Renault. The new Mercedes-Benz EQS is full of surprises, a very attractive car, very well thought out and very well priced. The German automaker announced on Tuesday that its flagship Eevee will start at around £102,000 when it arrives in dealerships later this autumn. The fact that it's going to cost less than a diesel or petrol-ran S-Class is quite impressive. It's really rare to see this, particularly as the Eevee is so anticipated. They definitely could have gone in with a higher price, but they've decided to make it as affordable as possible to try and help the EV revolution. Norway are holding the largest percentage of EVs in Europe, and the Netherlands are holding the highest density of public charging stations across Europe, which is very impressive. But still, more needs to be done to ensure other countries are following suit, particularly with the public charging stations. Now, here in the UK, apparently, one of the biggest worries for adopting an EV is range anxiety, which is where you feel your car may run out of juice, or we can't say that anymore, electricity, to be more precise. Now, to give you an idea, the average EV range is about 200 miles, which means most of your day-to-day drives are well within an EV's range, whether it's your short commute to the shops, to drop the kids off at school, seeing friends, relatives, you know, the usual. Now, for most people, journeys beyond an EV's range are only made once or twice a year. It's not something that you do often. You know, it might be an annual holiday or that kind of seasonal trip that you do around the new year to see friends and family. But range anxiety is still the biggest worry. Now, people are being asked to research and inform themselves with the many articles and information that is available online. And please do bear in mind, as I mentioned, those trips aren't made very frequently. So really, should it hold you back from adopting an EV? A survey of 300 motorists by Venson Automotive Solutions saw 87% agree there needs to be action to avoid a VED and fuel duty shortfall as a result of drivers choosing electric vehicles. The most popular solution, chosen by 38% of respondents, is the introduction of a new electric vehicle tax that could see drivers of heavier vehicles, opposed to those with a greater engine size, paying heftier taxes. Meanwhile, 32% of survey respondents said they would welcome a move to end free public EV charging points, and 31% backed the introduction of a road miles system, which would see charges incurred by plug-in drivers with higher mileage usage. 27% of people believed businesses operating EV fleets should incur additional costs, and only 22%, unsurprisingly, were in favour of a blanket per mile nationwide road pricing approach. Tax has been a hot topic this week. The fleet industry is warning a lack of tax certainty could stifle EV adoption. Low tax rates and the security of a 5-year roadmap on future charges have seen the BIK regime become the single biggest driver of zero-emission vehicle uptake in the UK. Now, many fleets and drivers are being forced to consider lease contracts for BEVs without knowing the tax they will be charged over the full duration of the agreement. The government has committed to keeping big tax rates low for electric company cars, but only until March 2025. The pledge was included in its roadmap to ending the sale of new diesel cars and vans by 2030 and hybrid cars and vans by 2035. But what business owners are asking, is this good enough? In other news, Volkswagen AG said this Thursday it is building a new Eevee battery system factory in eastern China, which will start production in 2023. It said it would invest more than 140 million euros in the battery plant by 2025. The factory's initial capacity will be 150 to 180,000 battery systems a year for local EV production. And finally, electric vehicles and autonomous cars are set to transform how we get around. But have you ever considered an electric hovercraft? We have the Von Mercier Arosa. How cool does that sound? And it is a hovercraft designed to cruise over land, water, and all types of terrain in between. The hovercraft could hit 80 miles per hour. We do know that a gas engine creates electricity that powers 3 independent electric motors, and there's also an onboard battery pack. We don't know the size, and we don't know anything else. The rest remains a mystery, but we cannot wait to find out more. You are now fully up to date with all the latest EV industry news. Remember, you can catch this podcast and all our previous podcasts via our website. That's eevee-comply.com. And from everybody here at Eevee Comply, you make sure you have a top weekend, and I'll be back with you next Friday.